Hey guys, my name is Temple Stewart. I'm the ketogenic nutritionist on all platforms, so go find me. I'm a registered dietitian and I'm currently in med school to become a naturopathic doctor. My passion in life is helping women lose weight, regain control of their health, and get their life back. And so today I want to talk about my top tips for managing insulin resistance because insulin resistance is so prevalent and it is out there just ruining lives and taking names. Most people that are pre-diabetic, over 90% don't even know they're pre-diabetic. It holds weight on you. It leads to chronic disease. It leads to infertility. Overall, it's just a hot mess. And so I really want to talk about some of the top tips that I give my clients to help them manage insulin resistance and get back control of that blood sugar so that they can move forward with their health, lose the weight they want, and start feeling good again. So I'm honored that you're here. Again, go follow me on all the platforms. This is my first YouTube video ever. And also this is going to be going on my podcast. So if you don't subscribe to me on YouTube, go subscribe to me. I'm going to be doing more of these. And I just think it's so fun that we have face-to-face interaction. So let's jump into it. These are going to be my top tips for managing insulin resistance. So number one, you could have guessed this one. It's obviously going to be nutrition, right? If you're eating crap, you're going to get crap results, right? So you cannot put junk in and expect to feel good. What do I mean by junk? Sugar, flour, and seed oils. If you keep those three at the top of your mind, sugar, flour, and seed oils, you're going to be doing yourself a world of favor when it comes to avoiding food. So there are three types of macronutrients, right? We have carbohydrates, that includes sugar, starches, and fibers. We have fat, and we have protein. Which of those three do you think influence blood glucose the most? It's carbohydrates, right? Even if that carb has fiber, even if that carb has a lot of water, it's still going to impact your blood sugar. Now, I'm not saying you need to avoid everything, all fruits and all vegetables, but I am saying you need to avoid high glycemic sources of sugar like soda, like specialty coffees, like potato chips, dessert cakes, anything with high fructose corn syrup, syrups, honey. All those types of things are going to cause massive spikes in blood glucose levels, which is going to ultimately lead to your body becoming insulin resistant long term. So if you could do one thing for your health today, I would tell you, look out for sugar, seed oils, and flour. Those things are going to be the highest glycemic. So your breads, your pastas, even some grains like rice are going to cause a bit of trouble. So if you know your blood glucose is high, you know you've got prediabetes, you know you've got high triglycerides, you've got non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, you're having a hard time controlling your blood pressure, those are all red flags that you're struggling with insulin resistance. And you would do really good if you really try to limit, discontinue that sugar, starch, sugar, flour, and seed oils in the meantime. Okay, so what does that leave you with food nutrition wise? That essentially leaves you with meat and vegetables, right? Every meal, the primary macronutrient should be protein. Okay, so when we're looking at nutrition for insulin resistance, protein is king. Okay, protein is king. It's going to help stabilize your blood glucose levels. It's going to help keep you really full. It's going to help be that building block of all those amino acids that you need for essentially every process in the body. Protein is king. Okay, now when we're trying to lose weight, we don't want to do massive amounts of fat. With the ketogenic diet, we do obviously moderate to higher amounts of fat, but we don't want to go overboard. So we don't need to be adding a ton of oils to our coffee. We don't need to be going out of our way to eat a stick of butter. I've seen some crazy stuff online recently. You really don't need to do that much fat. And it'll come naturally if you're choosing the right sources of protein. So when I make my plate for insulin resistance nutrition, the first thing I'm looking at is what is my protein and am I getting enough of it? Really, most people should aim for 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal, women included, men that may be lifting heavier amounts of weight. You might need to add a little bit more than that even, but ultimately we're going for 30 to 40 grams per meal. So we're going to put that on our plate first, whether that's, 5 to 6 ounces of chicken breast or fish or piece of steak or a hamburger, whatever the case may be. Build your meal around your protein. All right. So you got your protein, then you need to add your non-starchy vegetables. Well, what are non-starchy vegetables? Think anything that doesn't grow in the ground. Or is like a tuber, right? You want to think green leafies. You want to think cucumbers, tomatoes, bell peppers, carrots. All those things are considered non-starchy. All your leafy greens, I already mentioned tomatoes and bell peppers, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, asparagus, all of those are fantastic sources of non-starchy vegetables. So that's what we're going to put on our plate next. So you've got your protein, you've got your half plate non-starchy vegetables, and this is the time where you can add a healthy fat if you're not necessarily trying to lose a lot of weight, or if you just need a little bit more satiation for that plate. I love olive oil. I like a small piece of butter. All that's a really good start in terms of managing that plate correctly for insulin resistance. So far for our top tips for avoiding insulin resistance, we're going to get rid of that sugar, flour, seed oils, and then we're going to create the plate the way that I just talked to you about. Protein and non-starchy vegetables are king when it comes to insulin resistance nutrition. Now, the third thing is meal timing. Your body is not primed to be metabolizing, digesting food at the end of the day, right? Well late into the night. You really are primed and ready to digest food mid-morning, early afternoon. And so I would encourage you to eat most of your calories within that time limit. You can still have dinner. I'm not saying don't have dinner, a light snack in the evening. I'm just saying keep it smaller, right? Most of your calories are going to do better if you consume them at breakfast, if you consume them at lunch. There's also a really interesting study that looked at when to intermittent fast, right? A lot of people intermittent fast breakfast, but really the most metabolic benefits are gained if you fast dinner. And so that's just a little extra tip that threw in there is fast dinner if you're really looking for some of that insulin sensitivity, lower blood glucose, lower insulin, and even lowered inflammation. So we're going to get rid of sugar, flour, seed oils. We're going to protein and non-starchy vegetable to make up the majority of our plate. We're going to look at meal timing, pulling those calories up during the morning as much as you can is going to be helpful too. And then if you do intermittent fast, it's a fantastic way to help manage insulin sensitivity. So I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting. We could do a whole nother podcast on that another day. I don't like for women to intermittent fast every single day. I think we do better if we have a lot of variability within our fast, keep things changing up. I think we especially do well if we have a smaller dinner, no dinner at all. Especially if you're in those reproductive years. If you have any questions on that, feel free to follow me on Instagram, DM me a question specifically to your intermittent fasting routine. But that's essentially kind of my rules around intermittent fasting. Now, what type of exercise is best for blood glucose management, insulin sensitivity? Resistance training. The more muscles you have on the body, the better you are going to be, the more insulin sensitive you are going to be. So I do not like it when I see women just do all cardio. Yes, cardio is great. I love cardio. I love running. But you know what else I love too is building lean muscle mass. Lean muscle mass is crucial for glucose control, calorie control. You've got to be doing something that helps you build muscle. Okay, ladies, I don't care if it's Pilates. I don't care if it's CrossFit. I don't care if it's yoga. I don't care if it's body weight. Do something that builds muscle and puts muscle on your body. You can thank me later. You will handle carbohydrates. You'll handle glucose. You'll handle calories much better. You'll get toned. It'll feel great. And exercise just has so many benefits. You know, it's dementia preventative, cancer preventative long-term. So you want to do exercise. You want to have a good exercise routine that includes muscle building and not just resistance training. Okay. So that is super important when it comes to insulin sensitivity. The next thing I just want to briefly mention is sleep and stress management. Guys, if you're not sleeping, you're going to get insulin resistance. They show it's either 6 or 7 hours. If you get less than 6 or 7 hours of sleep a night, your blood glucose goes to that immediately of a pre-diabetic. That is wild. That's just one night of sleep deprivation. Imagine if you're doing that multiple days in a row, your blood sugar is going to struggle. It's going to put weight on. You're going to be insulin resistant. So you've got to prioritize sleeping. You've got to prioritize sleeping. I'm going to do a whole podcast on sleep hygiene, what that looks like, how to get better sleep soon. But kind of the starters for sleep hygiene: get rid of the phone, wear blue light blocking glasses, get in a cold room, prime yourself to sleep, have a sleep routine. Don't just kind of wing it every night. Have something that you do that relaxes you, that you know you feel good doing. If you want to take a hot bath, those types of things will really help long-term for you to create a good sleep routine. Okay, so we've gone through a lot of them, a lot of my insulin resistant hacks. I would say get rid of flour, sugar, and seed oils, create that healthy protein heavy plate, do some resistance training, do good meal timing. I will throw in there with meal timing, and I skipped this earlier, is do not eat naked carbs. What is a naked carb, you ask? A naked carb is eating a high sugar dessert, cake, cookie on an empty stomach. That is a disaster for weight loss and insulin sensitivity. You're eating these sweets, you're eating these treats without any protein to help mitigate that blood glucose level, you're going to see a spike. So if you're going to have carbohydrates, you already know it's your birthday, you're going to have dessert. You want to have that after a high protein meal. All right. The next hack, going for a 10 to 15-minute walk after your largest meal. Even if that meal is heavy protein, heavy non-starchy vegetables, going for a 10 to 15-minute walk after that meal is going to do massive decreases to that blood glucose level. That will help you stay insulin sensitive long term. Even if it's just down the street and back, just try to do a walk after that largest meal. Trust me, you can thank me later. It's going to help. You'll see that blood glucose lower, especially if you're wearing like a CGM or you're checking your blood glucose. A 10 to 15-minute walk after a meal is a game changer. So put that in your habits to keep. Okay. And then lastly, I do just want to mention a couple of my favorite supplements for insulin sensitivity. Obviously, I love berberine. If you've never heard me talk about berberine, it's probably one of my favorite supplements for good reason. It's been tried and true, it's studied, it's evidence-backed to help you become more insulin sensitive. It works very similar to the diabetes medication metformin. Okay, so it is potent, it works well. Obviously, I just want to say before you go changing any of your diet, lifestyle, routine, supplements, talk these things over with the doctor. This is not medical advice. I'm just telling you my opinions as a dietitian on a lot of these things. I love berberine. Another supplement I think is particularly helpful is inositol. Inositol is a fantastic supplement for blood sugar sensitivity. It's also actually a really, really good supplement for sleep. Okay. And so you can take inositol. It's very helpful for sleeping. It's shown to help patients in the past. And so those are some of my favorite insulin sensitivity supplements. So I know this was a quick one. Again, this is my first YouTube video ever. So show me some love, hit that subscribe button, share this with a friend. If you don't follow me on other platforms, you're missing out. I post a lot of fun content. So go follow me on Instagram, TikTok. I always try to answer my followers if you guys DM me. So I'm very open to helping. I love you guys. I love that you're on these platforms following me, and I really couldn't do it without you. I hope you enjoyed this video and click to subscribe. We'll talk soon.